Hi guys, very good afternoon to you. In this video, I'm going to actually talk about one of the analytics tool available in Excel, which is called the Solver. Okay, and why I'm going to actually discuss this, because as usual, I have received actually an email from one of my subscribers. So this is what actually he has written. Let me show you the email. So in this email, Jatin actually has sent this message. Hello sir, my name is Jatin and I want to learn Solver. Tell me about Solver. What is the use of Solver and how to do it in Excel sheet? I hope you'll give me example. All right. And then one more thing, he has also actually, I think he's watched my couple of videos on the YouTube channel, and so I really want to actually share that with you guys. He also has given this great comments. You are great, sir. All right, so I don't know which video you watched and you liked it, but I actually want to thank you for your appreciation. And so this video is for you, and of course to my all lovely people around there. And so in this video we'll talk about the Solver, and I'll tell you where can actually you use it. Personally, to be very actually honest with you, I have not really used Solver much, really. I mean, it's like nothing, right? I never used it, and I spent a lot of years actually on MIS. I spent a lot of years. In fact, even today also, I work on Excel, but I really didn't find it, that need of using the Solver. But it's a great analytical tool, and I must share it with you. So guys, before we start with the Solver, let me take 10 seconds of yours. For those who are watching the video for the first time, you can be a part of this program by joining me on my online training through Skype, which I provide. And you can also go to my website excelvbalover.com. In this tutorial section, my training course, my free videos on Excel, and same on the VBA training. The training course and the video tutorials are available. And you can also go to my YouTube channel, where I will upload this video, and under my playlist you can see all these videos. So there are I think around 158 videos so far on Excel and VBA and MS Access as well. So you can go ahead and you can check the video, whatever you are looking forward to, right? So in this video, let's quickly start this. And Jatin, thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for appreciating my work. And this is how we'll start with this. First of all, let me tell you where it is available actually. So this is Excel 2010, and it's available in all the versions, and in I think 2013 and 2007 also it's available under the data tab. So go to the data and what if analysis. We also call it what if analysis scenario manager. This is what we are going to do today. Scenario, how you can build the different scenarios and can see the output. Okay, what you're looking forward to. So let's quickly go ahead and let's discuss this by this very good example, a practical example. Now let's imagine you are in a bank, or maybe you're in a customer care of any company where you receive the calls. Okay, now this is just an example, but this is a live, practical example. So what happens, let's say you're in the market, you're a vendor, and you meet a client called, let's say, ABC. And that client, said that your transaction happens, your business happens, and then thereafter, client ABC, which is this, let's say it's a telecom company. So they say that they are going to, give, let's say, 1,000 calls on your IVR, right? And you have to answer those 1,000 calls in your 8-hour shift, right? So the first thing which I would write here is calls offered, which means what is the target basically? How many calls that client ABC is going to give you, right? So let's just, it's an ABC client. So let's say they are going to give you 1,000 calls. Now they also tell you one thing, because when you do business you have the targets, right? So they say that the average handling time to answer each call, it has to be, so I'm saying here average handling time to answer one call, each call, let's say it's going to be 300 seconds, right? So it's a 300 seconds, and so let's just write it in seconds. Now your window will start. So this client says that my customer will call to your this IVR where you're supposed to answer these 1000 calls in a day. The window starts from 8 to 6. So that's your shift, which is, let's say, 8 to 6 p.m. Now in 8 to 6 p.m. I guess we have 8 hours, right? So 8 hours means that 8 multiplied by 3600. This is going to give you the number of seconds, because in hour we have 60 seconds, and in minute we have again 60 seconds. So in hour it is going to be 60 into 60, right? So we have 28,800 seconds in our shift, right? Now the next thing is, which we are going to build here, is how many people basically you require to answer these many calls. You are a vendor, you got the this campaign, you got the deal done with this client ABC. Now obviously you would require customer care officers, right? So customer care officers, how many you need? You are planning and then you will start your hiring, right? So let's say now how you can calculate this. So you have this 28,800 seconds overall, and you have a target of that each call has to be answered within 300 seconds. So that means that if you divide this 28,800 by the target, which is for one call, you will actually you will come to know that basically how many calls you can answer. Okay, this is the how many calls you can answer, because if every call is going to take 300 seconds, we are assuming, right? In practical situation it might not be that. Some calls may take 400 seconds, or maybe some calls would be short calls and they may take 100 seconds, right? But on an average we are assuming that 300 seconds is going to take one call. So if you divide this by this, then obviously this is what you will this 96 is actually giving us that if I start answering 300 every call on an average of 300 seconds, then in my 8 hours of shift I will be able to handle 96 calls, which is very, very less, right? So what we are actually going to do here is, I'm going to tell you, we don't require basically how many calls are to be answered, right? Because calls answered is already given there. You have to have these many calls answered by the client. That's the criteria, otherwise you will be penalized, let's say, right? So you need how many people you need to answer 1000 calls, having a target on every call 300 seconds, and that too provided that you can't actually log in beyond this hour, because 8 to 6 after your customer care will shut down, right? And nobody will call you. So in order to calculate it, what we are going to do is, we are going to multiply 1000 calls with 300. Now this will give me how much time I really require to answer 1000 calls. When you multiply it, you see that it's going to be somewhere, I think it's 3 lakh. 100, 100,000, 10,000. Yeah, it's a 3 lakh seconds. Remember, it's seconds, because this is in seconds. Now 3 lakh seconds you need to answer 1000 calls, right? But you have only 28,800. So when you're going to divide this with the time which is available to you, you will ultimately be going to calculate the number of people, right? So this is 10 people you require in this 8 to 6 hours of shift, and with the target of 300 seconds, and then you can answer 1000 calls. So let me just increase this to, let's say, 8000 to increase the manpower, let's say. So now you see that you require actually 83 people. So let's just let me go to the format cells and let's just make it, that's it. So I need 83 people, right? 83 people to answer 8000 calls, having each call to be answered, having each call being answered in 300 seconds, right? Now I know this is more of a planning. This is the what I'm talking about is more of a from the planning perspective, right? But your solver can play a very important role here. So I hope this calculation is clear to everybody. Now let's say you don't have that much of budget. Okay, now you can't hire more than, let's say 58 people. That's your budget constraint. Now how you can hire 83 people, right? So let's just make it 60. Then what you can go to the client and you can tell them, look, I really don't have that much of budget with me, so we can actually reduce the the offered volume. So client says that no, then in that case the deal can't be finalized. I prefer to give it to somebody else. So this cannot change actually. This 8,000 is not going to change. You have to, if you want business, you have to answer, and this happens, right? So ultimately what you decided is that let's now try to reduce this 300, the handling time on every call. Can I make it 150? Maybe I can train my people so well that they, instead of answering this in the 300 second, which is a client's target, if I can get these calls answered in 100 seconds, 150 seconds, or maybe 200 seconds, definitely this calculation will reduce. For example, client has given you 300 target, that's the target, but not necessarily that you have to be exactly on this 300. You can try to reduce it to 50, with a good quality, with a good product training, right? You can groom your associates. So if it is 250, you see this number will automatically start reducing. So you have to prepare a report that if I reduce this to this much of AST, average handling time, then how many people I would be requiring. There comes the analytical tool solver. Now let's understand this, how we can make a use of it. So let me just remove the grid lines. So this is your table. Now understand, when you do these kind of a plannings, you also see the realistic figures. Now you can't say that, all right, let me reduce it to 50 seconds, then I will be having a lot of less people. Let's say if I reduce it to 50, you will require only 14 people. But does that make sense? It's not. If the client is giving you 300 of target, remember the client gives you only that target which actually client thinks that it is not easy to sustain, right? So if the target is 300 seconds, then obviously keeping it to the 50 second will not make any sense, right? So we have to be a little realistic about this. Maybe you can reduce it by 40 seconds, 50 seconds, maybe the best case would be reduce it by 100 seconds, 150 seconds, right? So that way this actually can work. So here we are going to use this analytical tool. So let me just take you there. Okay, now so what you need to do is you need to go to this data tab and you need to click on the what if analysis scenario manager. Click on the scenarios and then you will have this window pop up. Okay, now in this window you have to add the scenarios one by one. I'll tell you how. So let's just drag it a little down. I'm going to click the add. Now see, the first scenario which I would be thinking is a kind of a, let's say, the moderate scenario where I can reduce it maybe by 10 seconds to 20 seconds, right? So I'll write here moderate, or I would write here achievable. Okay, so this is the achievable. Press OK. Now before you do that, you need to ensure which cell do you want to change. So I want to change this cell because I want to reduce my average handling time, because if I reduce it, I will definitely be requiring less number of people, right? So my target is this. Press OK. Now here it will ask you enter value for each of the changing cells. So what exactly you want to achieve here? So let's say I want to achieve it 270. All right, so just press OK. Now you see this achievable is added here. Now we need to add one more scenario, right? Let's say this is, I would say, tough. Okay, so again here we will write here E6. Now this time we'll make it to, let's say, 250. So we're going to reduce this target AST by 50 seconds, which means a lot, right? Okay, now one more scenario, if we want to add it, we can add it, which is we can write here that really tough, or you can write anything, right? You can complex, I mean, it's all up to you, your understanding, right? So I'll say that this is really tough, right? And then in this, what we are going to do is we are going to reduce it by 200 seconds. Okay, press OK. That's it. Now further you can add more. You have a choice. I'm not gonna add, but I think these three scenarios are sufficient. And the last which I will add here is the normal one, the current one. So I will say original. What is the original one? Obviously original one is 300, and we already know that for 300 we require 83, but still we would like to add it. There you go. Now guys, you have actually added all the scenarios. Now whenever you want to see what calculation they are going to do, what you need to do is, for example, you're showing this to your management, you tell them that, look, if I'm on the achievable, then what will happen? Click on the show. The moment you click on the show, look at these numbers. Automatically 270, 300 is changed to 270 because in the changing cell, in the target cell, you use 270. So for 270, you can tell them, look, we require 75 customer care officers, but then it is something which we can achieve. Now your management says, but we are still like 75 and we can't afford that. What is the next thing? So you can tell them, so maybe we can go to the next scenario on the tough one, and I can press show. So when you do that, you see that you are around 69 associates having a 250 of the target. Now this is something maybe you can reduce it by 50 seconds, and the companies they do that. They train their associates so brilliantly that they take the calls immediately, and they wrap up the customer queries and everything, and this comes as you grow, as you gradually start learning the things, right? But still, if they are not convinced, then you can tell them that, look, then the next thing which I have thought of is, it's a really tough thing, and as you can see here, if I do this show, then we would be requiring only 56 associates. But then the AST has to be 200. We have to reduce it by the 100 seconds, which is really tough. Now it's all up to them, what they exactly want to do. So this is where actually scenarios used. And now the good part is, you just don't really need not to come to this and to every time show this. You can prepare a report also for this. You can generate a report for this. Now how are you gonna generate the report? What you need to do is, when you have all these scenarios available here, you just need to click on the summary. Okay, when you click on the summary, then a separate sheet will be created. Now it says that result cells. What is your result cell which you want to see? It's very important. Obviously you are targeting on the customer care officers by changing this value, right? So this has to be G6. Remember, if it is not going to be G6, then you will not be able to get the benefit of scenario summary. Because see, I have only two targets. One is 200 and one is 56. Call offers cannot be changed. It is constant for me. Client is not agreed to do that. And shift timing will also remain as it is, 8 to 6. I can't change. So what I can change is, I can change this customer care officers according to the average handling time. I can reduce the time. So when you press OK, what happens? Your report gets generated. Wow, this looks very exciting, right? Now you look at this. It says everything. So it says that achievable is 270, and based on that you need 75 people. And the tough situation is 250, but then your manpower reduced to 69. But if you want to really, really work very hard, and you can somehow, if you're able to reduce it to 200, then you really can manage 56 people. You can answer those many calls, and this was the original one. That's the client has given you the target. So this is how this scenario summary can actually, you can send this file to your management or whatever. I mean, it's good from the analysis perspective, right? So this is how, guys, this tool works, and you can make a use of it. But remember, this tool will work only when your formulas are correct, calculated. Right? Like for example, now I will not go into the other details, like in 8-hour shift, people will also go on the break. So that time also to be reduced. That's a different thing. That's all about the planning, right? You can reduce then further 1 hour from here. You can make it a 7-hour shift. So there are a number of things, right? I'm not going to talk about that, but this was more of the what if analysis, the scenario manager, which you can work. Now, when you click back on this, it will always be there unless until you click on the delete. You can also delete it from here. If you start deleting it, it can be deleted, right? So I hope this example, with this example, I'm able to understand my, the tool for you. And going forward, I'll upload a couple of more videos, as I have received a lot of emails from my students. So thank you so much, Jatin, and thank you everybody for watching this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, then please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, right? So I'm signing off. I'll come up with some more exciting stuff very soon. Bye-bye. Take care.